Welcome, my name is Ostanekesa and I'm your host. I'm with Professor KIMENU and I will let him introduce himself for the purposes of this interview. Welcome, Professor.
Yeah, my name is Professor John KIMENU,
Yes.
working for the University of Nairobi in the Faculty of Agriculture. The department is Plant Science and Crop Protection. And for this particular purpose, you should know that I am the chairman of the National Cohesion and Ethics Committee of the University of Nairobi, where tree planting is tagged.
Yes, so Professor has already mentioned it. We are here to talk about tree planting today and our tree planting efforts. I just wanted us to be very clear about something. Today is May 17th. This is when we recorded this. So that when we talk about time going forward, going backwards, we can have, I just want our audience to understand that. So when we mention how many trees we have planted so far and going forward, someone may watch this in June or July and may think that we have not, added, just in case. But anyway, so I said that also because of the recent public holiday that we were given, so that Kenyans can plant trees. And I know we all plugged in. And as a university, I know we planted some trees, Prof. You can mention how many?
In the University of Nairobi,
specifically during the recent public holiday.
During the recent public holiday, the public holiday was a culmination of our tree planting exercise in the University of Nairobi. Up to the date of the holiday, we had planted 40,000 trees within the University of Nairobi. On the date of the holiday, on 10th of May, we planted 7,000 trees.
Wow.
6,000 at Upper Kabete and 1,000 in the vet farm, Kanyariri.
Wow.
Yes.
So we are at 47,000?
Yes, and so far we are at about 50,000.
About 50,000. All right.
Yes.
So some of the questions that we have as a team, as a team, is to ask, what are the benefits of the tree planting exercises?
That's a very good question. What are actually the benefits of the tree planting exercise? Every time you look at trees, you should see them as faithful servants to mankind.
Okay.
And they have multiple benefits. But the benefits can be clustered into four groups. And the first category is actually very, very pertinent. Trees as a source of food. When we talk about food security in our country, we should be focusing also on trees. When you focus on trees with regard to the environment, you should see trees as the remedy to climate change mitigation and adaptation to climate change. Trees take in carbon dioxide and they release oxygen. So they reduce the amount of carbon dioxide in the air. They reduce the drive to global warming. As it concerns the environment, you can talk about the benefits of trees with regard to the environment, including holding the soil where it is and helping to conserve water. Focus on trees as a source of wealth. We have enterprises that are tree-based, commercial enterprises that generate wealth. In terms of fruit trees, in terms of trees for timber, and trees for other purposes like charcoal, like wood fuel, etc. Then look at trees and forests as centers of biodiversity. The tree ecosystems host numerous seen and unseen organisms. What you can see and what you cannot see. terms of like the insects, the birds. They host microorganisms that are beneficial to man. So you can talk and talk about the benefits of trees. So the clarion call is that having realized all those benefits, all of us should be in a hurry to plant the next tree. Yes.
And might you have, you said you're the chair of the National Cohesion Committee.
Yes.
Do you know the target that the University of Nairobi has?
Yes, the target that the University of Nairobi has in terms of tree planting is very clear. And it has kept being increased over the time.
All right.
We started off with 90,000 at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
90,000 trees. Now it has been stepped up to 130,000 trees planted. Planted.
Wow.
And 130,000 trees propagated. We are supposed not only to propagate, to plant, but also to propagate trees for others to plant. So the minimum that is expected of us is 260,000 trees every year.
And you said we are at 50,000.
And I would like to state that over the years I've known that the University of Nairobi does not operate with the minimum. It always performs better.
Over and above.
Over and above the minimum. Yes. So when I said that we have planted 50,000, I have meant the trees we have planted between March and May 2024.
Oh, so this is within only 2 months?
We are talking about the last 2 months.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's good to know that. And that, you see, that why the essence of time was, mentioning the time was was important.
Yes.
Because going forward, I'm sure
Yes.
more and more people within the University of Nairobi will keep planting trees.
Yes.
And the number will keep increasing.
Yes.
And propagating, as you said.
Yes.
So question, when then will we start enjoying the fruits of our labor, benefits of this, the 50,000 trees that, as at now, we've already planted?
Okay. As we speak now, tree planting is going on in Vet Farm, Kanyarere. There is a department called Vet Pathology, Microbiology, and Parasitology that has set to plant 1,000 trees by the end of the day today. Okay. So, back to the question. When shall we start realizing the benefits of the trees that we have planted? If you look at the multiple benefits of trees, you're going to realize that we start realizing the benefits as soon as the trees become established. So, and most tree species will become established within 6 months. Okay. The trees that we planted in November, specifically on December 14th, 2023, have become established. Oh. So they are holding trees, they are holding the soil and helping to conserve the soil and water in the soil. Okay. So the benefits have started coming home, and the benefits will increase, can only increase as the trees mature. Yeah. Because those trees are hosting, like I talked about, biodiversity, the visible and the invisible organisms that are beneficial to mankind are being hosted within the trees that we planted. But note, the benefits will increase as the trees grow to maturity. Okay. Yes.
So maybe another question that of the 50,000 trees that we have already planted, can you comment on the species?
We have planted over 50,000 trees, and they are of multiple species. Majorly, the trees that we have planted are indigenous trees, like the Prunus africana, like the croton, etc. I don't want to overburden
Yes,
you
yes.
with the scientific names of those trees, but the whole idea of planting trees and establishing forest is founded on planting as many species together as possible, because trees operate competitively and cooperatively. So the more species you have, the higher the more stable the forest ecosystem is.
Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yes.
And the other question, maybe before we move from the species, there's something you mentioned before we started recording, that species are specific to the location.
Yes.
Can you comment on that? Like we plant specifically species that are related to our location as the Upper Kabete or in Nairobi and its environs.
Yes. In order to establish forests, you have to select trees that are suitable for or compliant with the environment in which you are planting them. There is a concept we refer to as gene by environment interaction. It says that every organism, including trees, have a place that they call home. And organisms perform better when they are as close as possible excuse me, to their home. So the gene by environment interaction is very important. Don't plant trees in environments that are not suitable for them, because they will not survive. And if they survive, they struggle to survive. They will never achieve their full potential. Yes.
Wow. So would you know how much land cover either we have or we need to get this 260, because now you said 130,000, 260,000. So how much land cover do we need to achieve that? And how much have we already used? Would you know?
So far, we have planted trees, about 50,000 trees in about 10 acres of land.
Okay.
That 10 acres of land is scattered in Kibwezi. We have 2 acres. Vet Farm has another 2 acres. Upper Kabete, we have 6 acres of land that has been planted. So how much land do we need to plant 130,000? You divide that by about 8,000 plants per acre. So you can see the kind of land that we need.
Okay.
The question is that land available? Yes. That land is available because we have land in Upper Kabete campus, Vet Farm. Chilomo campus has land at Wilson Airport, across in the neighborhood of Wilson Airport.
Yeah.
We have 12,000 acres of land in Kibwezi. So Kibwezi alone can accommodate all the trees that we need to plant. Take 100,000, take what? 1,000 acres of land and plant 4,000 trees per acre. That is about 4 million trees. So we only need 1,000 acres to achieve the target. And when we talk about 130,000 trees, remember, we are not just talking about trees planted within the University of Nairobi premises and land. We also have partners in the form of schools, alumni who are planting trees in their own gardens, and also members of staff. Like, for example, myself, my target is to plant 1,000 trees in my private establishment, yes, in the next 1 year.
Wow.
Yes, I've already planted 500.
Congratulations.
Yeah, yes, thank you.
You're very dedicated to this course.
Yes.
So, actually, you've answered my next question, because my next question was about the land. Do we still have room to plant the tree? So, what should we do as a university in order to maximize the impact of these efforts of the tree planting initiatives?
Yes, a very good question. In order to maximize the impact of this exercise, there are three things that we need to do. One is what I had talked to about earlier. We got to be deliberate in matching the trees with the environment in which we plant the trees. You only plant the trees in environments that are suitable for their growth, where they will thrive. Yes, that is a cardinal rule. If you don't do that, it will be an exercise in futility. The next aspect is about timely planting, and this is also very, very important, extremely important. Timely planting. Trees should be planted at the onset of the rains. Yes, the more you move in terms of time from the onset of the rains, the lower the chances of survival of the trees that you plant. And while choosing the time to plant the trees, let's do a distinction between tree planting and tree planting ceremonies.
Okay.
There's a difference. Plant the trees when it is right, when the weather is pleasant for trees to grow. Yes. And then do the ceremonies later.
As we want to do everything at the same time.
Yes. Avoid that, the mix of tree planting and tree planting ceremonies. If you noticed, we started planting trees in March. We had a tree planting ceremony on 10th of May. The trees that we planted in March had enjoyed rainfall for up to about 2 months, 60 days of rainfall, which are actually adequate for trees to get established.
Wow.
Yes.
Because that was the next question, the survival rate. What are we hoping for?
Yes. The third most important aspect in terms of success of tree planting is the care, post-planting care of the trees. Post-planting care has many attributes. I'll just mention a few. First and foremost, you'll find that in the course of planting, some people do not handle the trees properly. So you got to go back there as the manager of the tree plot to support those trees that might not have been planted properly. You remove them. Sometimes they are planted with the sleeves on. You remove the sleeves and then make sure that they are properly planted. The weeds tend to outcompete the trees. You have to go back there and control the weeds. Yes. And should you have resources, and the recommendation is to use whatever resources that you have in terms of manure, fertilizer, or crop residuals that you can use to place around the base of the plant so that you suppress the weeds. All those resources should be applied, but the recommendation is that you don't go very far because it will become very expensive to fetch materials from very far. Yes.
Wow. So what lessons have we learned through this process?
The lesson that we have learned is that we can achieve many more. We can plant many more trees than the target if we encourage organizations and different departments to take part in tree planting. And they do the tree planting not from the concept of satisfying performance contract targets, But trees are supposed to be planted and nurtured from the heart. It is the passion that you drive the tree planting and tree growing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what are the challenges encountered so far? As the chair of the committee, what have you noticed?
The main challenge is that we have been assuming and continue to assume that everyone knows what it takes to grow trees. Capacity building is extremely important, from how do you handle the tree, how deep do you plant it, and the post-planting care that is needed. That is extremely important. And the notion that you can just plant the tree, you run to plant the tree and take off and leave the tree behind, should be phased out from the minds of the people. Yes. Plant a tree and then go back and confirm that the tree is still there, first and foremost, and that you are supplying, it will be talking to you and telling you what it is that it needs to grow, and you got to provide what it needs. Should you find the tree suffering from competition from the other plants, you should be ready to slash the weeds around the tree so that it gets access to the sunshine, because the source of energy is actually the sun. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's another thing also you mentioned, just as a last point.
Yes.
You mentioned that we should expect 5 out of 100. In 100 trees that we've already planted, only 5 have a probability of not making it.
Okay.
So kindly comment on the success rate.
Yes, thank you very much. The survival and growth rate of the trees. In my opinion, I have not consulted many people about this, and we need to set the standards for ourselves. In my opinion, 3 out of every 4 plants, trees that we plant, should grow to maturity.
Okay.
As a university, given the technologies that we have, and we have multiple technologies and innovations that we could apply, as a university we should be targeting to grow 95% of the trees that we plant. That is 95 trees out of the 100 that we plant should grow to maturity under our care. Yes. Yes. It's only 5%, 5 out of 100, that you could say, well, they were poorly handled, they have encountered injuries in the course of life, they have been attacked by insects, they have been attacked by rodents. Those are the only ones we should be talking about having lost. But even when we lose those, we should be on standby to replace them. There should be some trees in the neighborhood to replace those that dry up, those that are probably attacked, damaged by people, even people walking. Like when we were planting, there were some people who were not very careful to control their steps. They stepped on some trees and they were injured and started drying up. So we are on standby. If you go to the site now, you'll find some people replacing those that were damaged in the course of the planting activities. Yes.
That's really interesting, because I was going to ask, how are we doing in terms of care? Are we doing so badly off, or are we on top of?
We have not been doing very well, but now we have become deliberate on this. And this is a promise that I'm making and an appeal that I'm making, that we should not plant trees if we are not going to take care of them.
Okay.
Yes, the clarion call is you had better plant 5 and take care of them to maturity.
Yes.
than plant 1,000 and all of them end up drying up. And that has happened. Yes, that has happened in certain instances. For example, when you see people planting trees off season, unless you have resources, planting trees off season, when the rains are just about to tail off, you are in serious trouble. Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much, Prof. My questions are over. Do you maybe have a parting shot?
The parting shot is that, thank you very much for asking me to give a parting shot.
Yeah.
The parting shot is that we should adopt the hummingbird concept in tree planting and care of the trees. The hummingbird concept was espoused by the mother of care of the environment, that is Professor Wangari Maathai. And the message is, do what you can, do the little that you can, and God will do the rest for us. Plant one tree if that is the only tree that you have space for or you can afford to plant. And take care of it. Yes. One tree is many enough. Yes. One tree is adequate if it's nurtured to maturity. Yes.
Thank you so much for coming,
and
Prof.
together we shall make it.
Okay.
Yes. If we do it,
Yes.
we do it from the heart.
Okay.
Yes.
Together we shall make it.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Prof, for coming.
Yes.
Thank you for allowing us to ask you all these questions about tree planting. And thank you for shedding light on these issues. It's interesting that you mentioned we need capacity building for, learning how to plant trees.
Yes.
There's that assumption that everyone knows.
Yes.
And that's a very good point.
Yes.
And that please don't plant a tree if you know you're not going to take care of it.
Yes.
Those were my major takeouts.
Yes.
And I've really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much for listening and have a good one.
UNC TV, empowering you.